I want to give a shout out to a sister on Twitter by the name of Nicole, and her Twitter handle is Bombshell Cole, for bringing this back to my remembrance. So you guys might have heard about the story of Tamla Horsford that happened in November of 2018. It was a black mother who went to a party with a whole bunch of other football moms because they all had sons on a football team in Cumming, Georgia, where she was found dead the next morning. Now, of course, there was a lot of investigation, although they said it was very shoddy and not well done. The authorities there in Cumming, Georgia came up with the conclusion that there was no foul play and that it was an accidental death. They said that she had a lot of alcohol in her system, 3 times the legal limit. Also, she was on Xanax and she had smoked some marijuana. Now, she was found by the auntie of the homeowner at 7:30 a.m. the next morning, but they did not call 911 until almost 9 o'clock. And so many were wondering, okay, well, what was going on between that, hour and a half? Were y'all concocting a story? What's going on? So the boyfriend of the homeowner, his name was Jose Barrera. They said as he was on the phone with 911, he was like, oh, she has a cut on her wrist, kind of alluding that maybe she took her own life. So when it's all said and done, of course, her family is like, nah, And a lot of other people, myself included, is like, nah, that lady didn't just fall off of the balcony, which they said was about 14 feet up. Now, when you think of somebody falling, okay, yeah, they're going to have some injuries, I guess, and yes, possible that they could die. But Tamla had head injuries, torso injuries, neck injuries, cuts all on her legs and her hands. And so many are like, nah, something else happened. Now, originally, it was said that it was supposed to be all women at this sleepover because it was a sleepover. It was 7 other women there in addition to Tamla. But it was later discovered that 3 other men were there as well. So people are wondering, what were they doing all night, right? As I'm wondering the same thing. So again, the authorities, the local authorities said, well, there's no foul play and we're not going to further anymore. It was an accidental death. Well, a couple years later, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation opened the case up again after calls from a whole host of people, including celebrities like T.I. and Kim Kardashian during the George Floyd protests. It was like, oh yeah, and what about Tamla, the woman that mysteriously died at a sleepover in Georgia? So the Georgia Bureau of Investigations opened it back up and, they, I guess, went through it a little bit more detail and they came up with the same conclusion and they said they're not going to charge anybody. But again, there's a lot of things unanswered. From what it said, Tamla was not on Xanax, which is, I guess, a antidepressant type of drug. And so people are wondering how she got it. So, of course, the people at the party were like, well, we don't know. But then when the investigation took place the second time, they found that one person who they did not name at the party did have a prescription for Xanax. But she said, well, I didn't give it to her. All right. And so, of course, they're like, well, we saw her drinking and smoking weed. Now, of course, the people who said that are the people at the party who may have conspired to cover it up. Because it was also said that in some Snapchat messages that they, being the party goers and some of the men that were there, they were joking amongst each other about what happened and how they would notify her husband, joking about it, right? Like, oh, Mr. Horsford, we found your wife, face down in the ground. Like they were making, a big joke about it and making a joke about them being racist and all that kind of stuff. But again, nobody was arrested for what was deemed to be very suspicious. Now, Jose Barrera, he works for some sort of office dealing in law enforcement in Cumming, Georgia, and he got fired because he got caught looking into the file or the case of Tamla. Now, No one knew about what happened outside of Cumming, Georgia until 2 months later when he was fired, and then everybody else found out about it. And so there's a lot of foul play that took place in that. But I'm telling you guys about it again because we should never forget that, by the way, Tamla was the only black woman amongst all of those white women. And we should always be more cognizant of our surroundings and who we're going to party with. Because I know I don't have to tell y'all, y'all ain't got to tell me. I would never, ever, ever, did I say ever, be the only black person around a whole bunch of white anything. Not paper plates, not white cups, not mayonnaise, or anything white. I wouldn't even be in a snowstorm by myself, okay? So I'm telling y'all that, of course, let's be vigilant because they are not our friends at all. Malcolm X said, and he asked us to think about this, are they our friends or are they just friendly? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us too, hey, don't be around them, right? Separate. And especially don't be around them by yourself. So I'm hoping that they, who, I don't know, the federal government or somebody takes an interest in it and say, nah, we're not going to let them, and I'm going to say allegedly, get away with what they did to her, because I'm not buying that Tamla fell and all those things happened to her. So y'all tell me what you think it is. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, here on YouTube. Peace.